This week's Free Friday community class is brought to you by a bunch of discussions I've been seeing on the interwebs lately that revolve specifically around the plant spirits, the deities, the ancestors, the spirits of nature, real or make-believe. Okay, so about 100 times in the last couple of weeks, I've seen people refer to working with plant spirits, working with pagan deities, working with other kinds of spirits as engaging with archetypes. And so I'm using this week's Free Friday community class to squash it. This is an excuse for me to do a little sidebar rant all of its own because I think it's important. Ultimately, if we are not able to enter into personal relationship with the spirits to whom we are allied, what's the point? If they're not a person capable of interacting with us in a dynamic, homeodynamic way, if they're not able to respond to us and grow with us and help tailor teachings and experiences to our unique needs, then why would we have any devotion aimed at them, right? If there's no personhood, it doesn't make any sense. So this word archetype gets thrown around a lot, and I think it's an important word, especially when we explore myth and lore and psychology in certain ways. But when it comes to people dismissing spiritual experience or non-human persons as archetypes, that's where my proverbial feathers get a little bit ruffled. So this whole thing about archetypes, by the by, the word is relatively modern, but it does come from the smashing together of two Old Greek terms, archo, which is to begin something, to initiate something, and tupos, the type or the style or the origination of something. So through that etymology, we can kind of come to understand a little bit that the archetype is an idea that it's the first model that others emulate, right? That somebody or something or nature does it first, and then that pattern keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. So in the case of, if we use pagan deities, for example, that a particular deity doesn't exist as a person, rather they are a symbol of an archetype that gets bounced around throughout humanity since the beginningless beginning, right? They're not real, they don't actually exist, they just symbolize a pattern that has been set into motion and continues to influence and affect folks globally or in specific cultural expressions. So that's one definition, and for folks who try to cultivate an animistic perspective and animistic experience of life, that's not going to hold water, right? Because we have experiences with other that are pattern breaking, right? That we go into situations expecting things to go a certain way, and the spirit responds with novelty. They respond in a way that is unexpected, with information that we didn't know or we didn't have as dialed in as we get in the moment of being inspired by one of our allies. So for us, this is, this is a non-factor in our practice. Another definition that people will give to archetypes is that they represent the pure form of something. And this is very Platonic. And we're looking at Plato and Jung today, kind of like, and so with a little bit of suspicion. The Platonic idea that an archetype is a pure form, a fundamental characteristic, again, implies that there is some pure expression of something or some root expression of an idea, let's say peace, right? And that pattern, once established, continues to just echo throughout the universe and is symbolized by symbols and rituals and spirits, rather than any of those things being actual beings or actually being dynamic, adaptogenic experiences, right? So again, for me, that doesn't work. A final definition that I will throw out there is that, and this is the one that I think people use most when they talk about, the goddess Freya is an archetype for fertility, and they just, it's like very reductionist right there. is that it's a collectively inherited idea, right? That because so many people have thought it in the past, everybody thinks it in the present. And again, while I do think that that's real because culture exists and culturally people kind of embody virtues and embody ideals, I think that it is incredibly dangerous and disrespectful to limit any person to being just an expression of some original idea, which by the by was generally human generated, right? So when we say things like the goddess Freya is an archetype of fertility, we are saying, A, that everything that happens in the cosmos, even on the level of deity, is human-centric, which is not true. We say that Freya does not exist as a sovereign being. Rather, she is a symbol of what humans have decided fertility means and what about fertility is important to us. And so that when we engage with her in meditation or charm or prayer, there's no actual person there. Rather, we're aligning or attuning ourselves to an energy, right? A possibility, a pattern. This is problematic right now because we have so many unhinged people in the world, mostly on the internet, mostly on TikTok, running off about codes and stuff. And like this just amplifies that I won't even say non-animistic, I'll say anti-animistic viewpoint, right? That the cosmos is a buffet of things that cater to the human experience, and all of it is here for us to download, assimilate, colonize, and otherwise take. It doesn't work for me. So again, a video filled with my opinions, maybe not yours, maybe not your experiences. I'm certainly open to talk about this. Where I think archetypes can be really interesting is in mythology, in story, that we do have roles or positions that seem to echo over and over again across huge spaces of time, huge divergences of culture, and huge geographical spaces, right? Opposite ends of the world, thousands of years apart, same kinds of things going on. So I think that's very interesting. A couple that come to mind, kill the monster, right? Most of our fairy tales, most of our heroic epics involve some hero, usually starting out maybe a little bit meek, becoming a hero on their journey, and then killing the monster that threatens world order or threatens the peace and livelihood of some people. We see that story repeated a million times over. In fact, you can probably think of stories, fairy tales, mythology that involves that sort of framework, right? Another one is the hero quest, right? Somebody starts out as a lowly peasant and has to go on a journey on which they discover themselves, they find their true power, they align to the cosmos, and they become inspired, and suddenly the power of nature flows through them and they're able to perform seemingly superhuman feats, but really they're just walking the walk, right? So we see that over and over again. We see the go voyage and come back, right? Go to a strange and foreign place, see a thing, learn a thing, get a thing, return to where you came from, tell the tales, right? We see that one over again. Death and rebirth themes, all the world's major religions, all the mystery traditions, in one way or another, have these ideas of death, rebirth, and the mysterious space between them. Another example of this is like someone starting in a low place and getting to a high place, right? Maybe it's low status, low money, low health, low power, and going through some process, kind of like a reflection of the hero's quest, and getting to a high place. So we do see themes, but I don't think that those themes warrant us reducing the persons involved in the themes to mere archetypes. It's possible from a polytheistic lens that the hero quest, for example, shows up in many cultures and across time because it is a cosmic truth. But it is not an excuse for us to say the hero involved isn't real. It's just a story to cater to human growth. It's just a story to entertain human persons through the darkness of winter. No, this is reductionist, and when we apply the same way of thinking to plants, we end up in the same boat where we say, oh, this plant is here to do this thing for humans. This plant is good for this. This plant does this. We can use this plant for this thing, right? Again, suddenly we step out of our innate animistic perspective and experience and into one that is human-centric, meaning that humans are the most important people in the room, or in some cases, we're the only true people in the room. All other living beings have no personhood or sovereignty. They're alive, but they're not people. Only we're people. And then it supposes that all beings, things, and experiences that happen are in some way about humans. They cater to us. They're for us. They've been designed to serve us. The universe is constantly adjusting itself to make us better people. Everything that happens is about the human. So we have like that toxicity. And then we have the part where we have chosen to remove personhood from the person involved, right? We have a person involved in the story. We have the plant who is acting as a catalyst for healing or magic or ritual or beauty or inspiration. And we have now divorced that plant from personhood and decided that the plant is a thing. So now, because the plant is a thing, it can be used, right? We can use it like we use a tool and not feel bad about it, right? Have no qualms about it. And realize that that tool, that thing is here solely for us in some way. Now, I will say this, unpopular opinion, hard fact, that most folks who are living in Christianized and Christian dominant cultures, this is conditioned in us. This is ingrained in our brains, right? That the world is simultaneously an innately sinful place and one that has been designed and created to serve the human experience. And so we have a lot of work to do in deconditioning and unwinding these patterns and these knots. Not to say there's anything wrong with Christianity. That's not the point that I'm making here. The point is that Christianity, in many cases, is fundamentally anti-animistic and anti-nature, in the sense that nature is either an illusion or a sinful trap which man needs to get away from as quickly as possible to go somewhere else. Animism is nature is beautiful and amazing and challenging and scary and inspiring, and we should lean further into it because we are part of it, right? There's nothing to get away from. There's no heaven to run off to. We go where our gods go, and they go deeper and deeper into nature. So this is the path. This is the difference. So please don't call spirits archetypes. They're not archetypes. And if you're working with them enough to be in a position to call them an archetype, I invite you to question why you're doing the work in the first place. What is it that you're relating to, if not a person? You're kind of just screaming into a void, right? Screaming into an echo chamber, or trying to align yourself to an energy pattern that, if it's a true archetype, there's no reason to do any external invocation of spirit or ritual, because that archetype will exist inherently within you as a person, in the same way that all of us carry Kill Monster, all of us carry Hero Quest, all of us carry Go Voyage and Come Back. All of us carry death and rebirth fears and mysteries and curiosities within us. They're already inside of you. So you can put the rituals down, you can put the devotions down if you don't think that you're doing ritual and devoting to a person, and just cultivate the patterns within you if they're archetypes, right? So there's that. So a little bit of a ranty one this week. Hopefully that was enjoyable for somebody. I look forward to these Friday classes every week. I really love them. If you want to see all the ones we've done in the past, including advanced classes and courses and vlogs and Q&As, come hang out with us over on the Patreon as we're rolling into a new year, 2023. I think this is my second class of 2023. Lots of really cool stuff in the works. And I'm really excited to share it with you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the subscribes and the likes. It does let me know people are hearing me and I'm not screaming into a void. And with that, I will wish you peace and plenty. I'll see you next time.